happy holidays to everyone. Uh, this is a very special edition of Model Railroad Mondays for tonight. It's talking about model railroading and mostly called the basics. We're going to talk a lot about the basics of model railroading, what to buy, what to purchase, things like that, and maybe talk about maybe some dimensions of what you want to make a layout. So I will be opening this up for you all, and I know this has been the second live stream in 2 weeks, so this is going to be really good. Talking about the model trains, where to start, and also about the budget, and also, books that you can be able to purchase or check out your local library, and some of that. So let's get right into that, and hope to see everybody on here tonight. So. Come on and sit down and have a snack and beverage of your choice, and let's have some fun. So, hope everybody's ready for the holidays. I most certainly am. Uh, it's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the most festive time of the year. My personal favorite holiday is, you see it behind me. Really looking forward to a great holiday season. Trademan 1993 and Stephen Casey. Hey, what's going on, guys? Great to see you all here. Just welcome to you all, and I'm glad to see you guys are on. So, guys, come on down. Let's have some fun. Let's have a little bit of fun and start asking some questions, on where you could start with model railroading and things like that. So, yeah, come on in, guys. Come on in, and let's have some fun. And also enjoying goldfish. Man, that's good. So, guys, ask your questions about model railroading. As generally in Model Railroad Mondays, we talk about model railroading in general. But now we're going to narrow it down to the basics of model railroading and where you can actually get started. For some guys, they want just a little fresher up. And sometimes you got new guys that are like, hey, I don't know where to start. Can you help me? So Steve, as explained before, I'll say it again. You can ask about model railroading, the basics, where to get started, maybe determining the right gauge, talk about maybe the materials, maybe to maybe make an actual train table. We can do that. We can also talk about maybe books that you can check out or you can even purchase, and things like that. Just basically the steps on where you can get started, where you're new to the hobby, and you're excited about learning, and and obviously the brands, of course, and also about your budget on how much you want to invest in a pretty big project. Because train tables, guys, as model railroaders, you invest a lot of money into it. I mean, I can say that. I'm sure Steve and Matt can say that as well. But model railroading is a good hobby, but it is a lot of money, and money is always a factor. But that's just some of the questions that you can ask, and that'll be mostly for tonight's version of Model Railroad Mondays. It's just narrowing it down. So please come on in, guys. Come on in and have some fun with everything. So I'll look at the comments here in just a second. Let me get a sip of a little ginger ale. Let's see. I got Steve and Matt on a couple things. When I first started Model Railroad, I started with an H.O. Bachmann train set. That's where I started. It's the Digital Commander. Had 2 locomotives and 3 cars and a loop of track and a transformer. That's where the Easy Command Control Center became very useful for me. And that controller that I use was the original one that came with the set, and it's still running. The cars still run, but the engines, obviously, they've been long gone. A lot of us have like opinions on model trains or no. It depends on what your depends on where you're going, Matt. Are you talking about maybe as far as money goes, or uh, maybe an opinion on a certain model? Now, tonight is going to be mostly talking about the basics, basically, where do I start? You know, what manufacturers are out there, which ones are budget friendly, um, maybe the steps on building a table, some books that you can read, and things like that. Just basically starting from square one. Like, hey, where can I get started with this? Or hey, where can I get started with that? Uh, just picture yourself as a new guy. Picture yourself as a new guy. For the experienced guys, you guys know this from experience, that when a newbie comes on board, doesn't know where to go, who does he turn to? He turns to somebody with experience. And chats like this help out as well, but uh, I'm just trying to think here. It come to guys with experience who've done it for a lot of years. The old timers, the older guys that love doing this stuff, they're a good source already because they know tricks from back in the day that are still usable today. So it's always good to have your connections. It's always good to have your connections and visit clubs. I cannot stress this enough, guys. Visit clubs. Visit clubs. Visit different clubs with the different scales. To get ideas on where you can maybe improve. Improve something that they did on your layout, or take an idea from a layout and use it. I've done that plenty of times to get different ideas that I might be able to use. All right, Matt says, when I started collecting trains, I think it was HO and some G-scale battery operated. Okay. Some people have had battery operated stuff. I had some battery operated stuff as a kid. It was a little bit, but I mostly had the electric stuff. And that's where I got started, was the electric stuff. And that's what got me. Now, Steve asks, what structures would you recommend to get started? Are you talking about buildings and bridges, or are you talking about other accessories? Now, what kind of a DCC equipped and sound locomotive such we should let's see, should we start with first if it's budget friendly? Well, let me think a second. Well, now the DCC and sound has really gone up over the past several years. And Steve, okay, thanks for the clarification. I'll get to you in just a minute. Bachmann had come out with their DCC sound value. I have not had experience with it, but Bachmann is always a good starter brand that you can maybe move up into something else like Atlas or Athearn. For me, it was Bachmann and Athearn for the most part, and then later on, Athearn Genesis, and I had some Atlas pieces in there too, but Bachmann's a good starter. Athearn's even a good starter too. Athearn Ready to Roll series, and Athearn Ready to Roll has got some DCC and sound models. So Bachmann and Athearn Ready to Roll are pretty close neck and neck, but the sound quality to me, Athearn's got it. If you want good sound, Athearn's got it. And Atlas is not too far behind that. Obviously, Broadway Limited Imports, they are a high-end manufacturer. I know some guys who own Broadway Limited. I don't. I know some people who have had very good luck with them. And scale trains at Intermountain have gone up in their DCC sound market as well. And I think that's great because that's more options for a buyer who is into this to look at. And also, the detail is what matters for some guys. Some people just want a basic engine. I have some basic engines at home too that I still use. But I've moved up over time to more of the actual scale models. Now, to get to Steve's part about buildings. One of the brands I start with buildings, Bachmann's Plasticville line. Some people may be thinking that I'm crazy for saying this, but Bachmann's Plasticville accessories are actually a really good line of accessories to start out. My accessories on HO and N scale, all of it's Bachmann. My bridge and my crossing are Bachmann. Now, some of the buildings I have are manufactured by AHM and some of the other manufacturers, but for like bridges and crossings, Bachmann. Bachmann has some good buildings as well. They're pretty simple to put together. I've never had problem with Bachmann accessories, and plus, they're very budget friendly. And you can do a whole lot with Bachmann accessories. CSXG ET44AC, what's going on, man? And very nice. Can you tell me what manufacturer it is? Hey, Matt, let me take a sip of ginger ale. Okay. Okay, if I started with some O-gauge, with an O-gauge set, or other stuff, what should I go with? Where should I go first? If it's cheaper, collected O-gauge since around 2002. Well, let me think. In my personal opinion, a lot of guys start with a set. A lot of guys do, and I'll tell you why. The set is good because obviously it's a lot of components because you've got the locomotive, the cars, the track, and the transformer. You have all the components right there in the box. For some guys, they inherit things. I have inherited some stuff over time, and after that, it was basically just expanding what we had. I was inherited something when I was about 3 years old. My dad and my grandfather were able to get it running, and then before you know it, the table was built, and it went from there. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of inspiration from somebody to hand down a set that was whatever, get it running, build a set like that. It can go either way. But when I started with HO, I wanted a set. Because I wanted to know what track came with it, what transformer, the locomotive, how the locomotives were built, things like that. Because I wanted to actually have the components that are right for that transformer and what's right for the space. That's what I started with. Now for N scale, it was the same way. And plus, after you purchase a set, you can purchase whatever you want, expand as much as you want, little as you want, and buy as much as you want. See, the set kind of gives you a little bit of a boost. It's an expensive option, but let me tell you something. All the components are right there. Now, Steven asked another good question. Are Kato N-scale locomotives perfect to start out with? I agree, yes. I started with Bachmann with N-scale because I was familiar with the brand, and plus that's the track that I used. But let me tell you something. Kato locomotives are very affordable. Yes. I have one Kato locomotive. That's my NS 1030. Never had any complaints. The Intermountain locomotive that I have, that SD40T-2, I've never had any problems with it. N-scale is very budget friendly, and also it's very space friendly. Let me elaborate on that a second. It's space friendly because it takes up half the space of HO. You get creative with both of those scales. N-scale is 1 to 160 the actual size. HO scale is 1/87th of the real size. So even the N-scale stuff, even the detail for some of it is not as detailed, but it's pretty close to scale, in my opinion. Now, there are some locomotives that are not as highly detailed, but they're pretty close to scale. Walther's Train Line, another starter line for HO. That's another good brand because I have a couple of those engines, and they pull really nice. Bachman's a good starter for N scale. Kato's even because Kato's does a lot of sets, especially with the Amtrak. Is they do a lot of Amtrak stuff, but they do freight locomotives. And they used to do some HO stuff. I'm not sure if Kato is still in that market or not, but for the freight locomotives, I know for Amtrak HO stuff, they do a bunch of that. They do a bunch of those engines, but I'm not sure if they do much on the freight engines anymore. If they do, they're hard to come by. Um, do have some comments coming in, guys. I'm reading these now. Um, Nice on the deal there, bud, for CSXG ET44. And by the way, Pat, can I tell you something? I recently got some train stuff from eBay, like Bachman, Penn Central boxcar. Okay, cool. Probably from the late 70s, early 80s. Yeah, that was an interesting era of Bachman. I have some of those cars too, and they are really easy to upgrade. You can just take off the plastic wheels and you can upgrade the couplers to easy make couplers and then just order some Bachmann 33-inch flatback metal wheels, put them on the car, and it's good to go. Basically a very small rebuild for almost nothing. I have done that so many times. It's cool to do, and plus you can upgrade one of those cars in less than 5 minutes. I've probably have done 30 or 35 of those cars, just taking them apart, give them an upgrade, and they're running nice. AHM cars, you can do it with old Tyco cars, old Bachmann cars, old Athearn cars. Even the old AHM cars are the same way too. You can upgrade those cars. And you're technically saving money out of that. And plus, with you just ordering parts, like I got projects now that I've got parts coming for them, you actually save yourself some money from actually buying another car. You can upgrade what you have, which is always good anyway. Steve says, I have lots of Walthers mainline locomotives since they are cheaper. They are perfect for starters, or if models want to save a little money. It goes either way, exactly. And the GP15-1 I have is Walthers train line. I just wanted to see how good it would pull. And it's very affordable. And first time I put the thing on the track, I'll never forget it. It pulled 16 cars with ease. And the motors that are in there are almost like an Athearn motor. It's very, very close to an Athearn motor. It has 2 flywheels in there, and that thing can actually pull some cars. And nice CSXG ET44. Modern Model Trains comes in. What's going on, man? Hope you're doing okay. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to everybody up here. Trainman 1993, thank you for doing a welcome comment. And Athearn Blue Box was good back in the day. Speaking of that, the Blue Box era, I think, ended around the late 90s, early 2000s. That was a really good line for Athearn because that was a very simple, basic line. And I'll tell you right now, the Blue Box era was really good. Blue Box era was really good. That was before Athearn Ready to Roll and definitely before Athearn Genesis. Modern Model Trains just said hi back to Matt. Make it the CP GP 15-1 if he doesn't win the SMT May Christmas contest. Yeah, I saw that. That's a cool little paint scheme. I don't think CP ever had GP 15-1s. I could be wrong, but it does look good in the CP paint. And the GP 15s I heard are awesome for starters. Yes, they're awesome for starters, and like I said before, they're good pullers. Despite the fact that they're not as detailed and the price is lower, it's still a very good starter engine. They've done that locomotive in several paint schemes. They've done NS, they've done UP, BNSF, CP. I believe they've done, they did another one I thought. I'll think of it in a second. Not sure if they did one in Conrail. They might have done one in Burlington Northern. But those 15-1s, really good for starters. And the Trailing GP9Ms are also great starters. I have one. That 2092 runs exceptionally well. And I'll be using that with my DC loop for HO. And the DC locomotives sometimes are good just to start out with. Says you're right, Pat. In real life, CP does not have GP15. Sorry if I'm off topic. No, you're fine, Steve. Don't worry about it because I figured you would know that roster anyway, and that was actually relating to that product as well as SMT mainlines thing. You were absolutely fine. I'm glad you confirmed this because that was something I was thinking about. So you're fine. No worries. No worries. If you already know, Conroe did some G15s. I have one in HO. Yeah, that was a cool Conrail locomotive because Athern's done them. I'm not sure if Walters has done it, but I do know that has been released by multiple times by manufacturers. Oh gosh, how many locomotives do I have? Oh Lord, I got to go back there and count them. Got to go back out there and count them. I don't know. I'm just fortunate. I'll leave it at that. I'm just fortunate. But like I said, getting back to what we were talking about there with the starter locomotives, Walters train line is a pretty good starter line. Even their cars are good too. Walters and Athern Ready to Roll / Athern Roundhouse, those lines are pretty similar as far as starting out. I'll tell you, you can't go wrong with the starters at all. Oh, they did make a Conrail GP15 one. Thank you, sir. I thought they did a Conrail one. I couldn't remember. Hang on one second, guys. So, getting back to beginners with railroading, with model railroading, excuse me. There are some books that you can check out some at your local library. You can also find some at your train store or hobby store. And you can even find some on the internet too. And I'm going to get some samples of that here in just a second. So keep the comments coming in. I will look at these when I come back. So keep them coming. Keep them coming, guys. Okay, guys, we're back up here, and I've got some books. that I tend to read. One of them was checked out by my local library. Introduction to Model Railroading from Model Railroader. This is a good book. I've actually read some in this book, and it's really, really good. So if you can find out where you can get a copy of it, you can definitely get one. Model Railroader is a good source. The magazine is good because you can actually look at different techniques in the magazine and also the different product releases and different clubs that have done different techniques, or even somebody who has done something. You can learn something by reading the book. And in the back of the magazine, there are places where they can repair trains. It's usually in the back section of the magazine, and you just find your state and find, let's say, your local trains, a local train store that does repairs on trains, and you can find it like that. That's another good source right there, because now you have a center where you can not only buy trains, but also that is a licensed repair center where something is wrong with your locomotive or accessory, car, whatever. You can send it over there, let them fix it, you pay for it, and it's done. The one thing you have to do is put it back on the track. But Model Railroader, excellent source. Let's see. And you can even find them at train shows. I want to comment on somebody else there too. And Steve says, Scale Trains Opera is perfect for starters too. Thank you. Perfect. Operator Dash 9s, ES44s, and ETs have ditch lights that are installed. Good. That'll really boost that out too. So thank you. Next couple of books are mostly for O gauge, but let me tell you something. It doesn't matter what gauge. You can always learn something from a book. This book my dad purchased years ago. Easy line of layouts you can build. And I've actually read this book a gazillion times. I really have. It goes from like, an introduction of what you're getting ready to learn. You can do the most basic layout, which is just a circle. I'm going to just show you guys a couple of samples of pages here in the book. You can just see here, that's just a simple basic layout. Just a circle. And one of the circle that went around our Christmas tree design was out of this book. You could even build a coffee table layout, which is a good one. And different track plans that you can see in here too. I will pull it up to the camera a little bit where you can see it. Different track plans. And even other configurations in this book too. You can learn something from these books because they are full of information. Indivisible island layouts. And that's similar to what I've got on my O gauge layout too. So these are good track plans that you can use, So definitely a good book that you can look at. And this is what it looks like, guys. If you want to take a real good look at it real quick. And I'll show these books again before we close. But definitely a good book. Definitely a good book. You can see it's been used a little bit. And Matt, I'll get to your comment in a sec. Let's see. So for any bell, I'm like 3 bit, however, I could. Buddy, don't be sorry if you ask a question. Asking questions is a good thing. Let me stop here for a second and let me elaborate on this. Asking questions is a good thing. Why is asking questions a good thing? Asking questions shows somebody that you are interested. You want to learn more. And that you want to learn different skills. And I think that's a good thing anyway. So it says, I can't find the parts online for any Bowser items like the 3-bay hopper. Could I go to a train shows or any train repair shop? That's my question. It's okay if I ask. Are you looking for like wheels or are you looking for trucks? Matt, if you can be a little bit more specific, I might be able to point you in the right direction. Now, Steve comes in and says, I think Bachmann 060 and 262 steamers are perfect steam locomotives for starters. I really like that new North Pole and Southern one. I've looked at that one too. That one's a pretty locomotive, especially for the Christmas time. As you guys can see on my O gauge layout, there's a small Christmas scene. You know, sometimes some guys are just like, you know what? It's perfect. You know, once you set something, you can keep that scene all year round. And that's what I do with mine. And it's awesome. The side frame, are you talking about the truck frame? Well, let me think. Now, I'll tell you where you can get a parts breakdown. If you still have the box and the paperwork for that car should be included in the box. Athearn does this, Atlas does this, so there should be a parts breakdown in the box. If you still have it. It should say truck frame and the number, the part number. You should be able to search it and find it. If you can't, just send it to your local train store. You can even use KDs. You can use KDs. You can. The KDs are really good for the older stock. I'm going to start using KDs on a few pieces of mine. I've actually got some KDs now. We'll work on a project with those. So, yeah, I mean, KDs are good. They're on the expensive side, but they're pretty well built. But if you're not sure, ask your local train store. That's always a good source. Hold on, I've got come up with CSX AC 4470, and one of them is CSX 1 2. Yeah, that's a good one for a starter too. Truck frame, man, by the way, it didn't come with the box or instructions, by the way. Okay, all right. What you can do, send it to your local train store and just say, hey, I'd like to get some new trucks and couplers, and their technician will know what to do. I have had to do this plenty of times, you know, where I'm not sure on what to use. I'll just send it to a technician. And plus, when you talk with your technician, I want to elaborate on this, and I'm going to elaborate on this because let me tell you something. You can have a conversation in person or over the phone. And I will tell you this much. Asking good questions is always good because when you ask good questions, you will get a good answer. If you ask a not so good question, you might not always get the answer you're looking for. How did I learn how to rebuild N-scale cards? It was thanks to a technician who fixed a car for me and told me what parts to get. And since that conversation, which was really this past summer, I was able to get the parts and rebuild the cars that you guys have seen. It was all thanks to one question in one phone conversation on how the guy did something. And I've rebuilt cars since that conversation. I mean, I've upgraded a bunch of them metal wheels, but getting the right parts is what I was looking for. And if you get the right parts, you can get the parts again and again, and you know what to do. And once you've done it enough times, it's ABC 1 2 3. And you learn things along the way. Don't misunderstand, guys, but you know, like taking the weights out and sanding them up and polishing them. I learned how to do that through several N-scale rebuilds. Regluing the weight is easy. One of them I wasn't sure about, so I sent it to a tech. I really did. So, yeah. So it's always good to ask good questions, guys. Always good to ask good questions. I hear Intermount wheels are perfect for AccuRail kits. I'll try to upgrade them in the future. AccuRail is a pretty good brand too. They're good for kits. Athearn used to do kits back in the day with the blue box kits, but I don't think they do kits much anymore. Kits are not as common as they used to be. A lot of people are going with the ready-to-run stuff, which I understand why. Um, yeah, plastic wheels, especially like the older plastic wheels, like on old Tycos and old Bachmans, they weren't designed the best and they wear out easy. Now, the AHM plastic wheels and the Athearn plastic wheels are pretty good. And I've upgraded those plastic wheels with Bachmann 33-inch metal wheels, and they run just as smooth as can be. Now, Microtrains for N scale, that's a really good plastic wheel. I've taken plastic wheels off because they're worn out. But metal wheels from Bachmann have actually helped out with that. And if I'm doing just a complete replacement, Microtrains trucks is the way to go. Microtrains for N scale. Um, for HO parts, I've used Bachmann and I've used McHenry couplers on my Athearn equipment on some of it. And KDs are pretty good. I'm starting to be a pretty good fan of KDs. What rolling stock kits would you recommend? Well, Athearn did a good rendition for a long time. AccuRail would be probably the next best. I've put together some kits. Even Bowser's done kits too. I forgot Bowser did kits. I don't know if they still do, but they have done kits in the past. And Bowser's pretty good. Bowser's pretty good. So yeah. So keep the questions coming, guys. Love to keep going with this. We're going to keep this going for a while, so guys, get creative. So, yeah, we're going to continue this on for a little bit, guys, just to see what else you guys have to ask about. Another book that's pretty good, going back to the books, the literature. Um, this one is called The Lionel Book. This gives a lot of good tips in here. Operating cards, accessories, running your railroad like the real one. Track plans, and power packs, a complete block system, building a layout. We've had this book a long time, since the mid '90s. This is a really good book, guys, and it's definitely been in my family for definitely a long time. This is a really good book. This is for O gauge, but let me tell you something. A track plan is a track plan. A table design is a table design. The only thing that's different is, just the accessories and what you can do with a certain scale and the size of the train. That's pretty much it, but some of the wiring is similar, and the good thing with this is you can learn about different things here in here. So this is always good. Oh wow, Scale Trains does kits too. Which cheaper Atlas locomotive should I recommend if it's HO or N scale? Okay, let me think about my Atlas lines a little bit. I'm thinking it's Atlas Silver line, Atlas Master line, and Atlas Gold. I believe I have an Atlas Gold. I think Atlas Gold or Atlas Master. I don't remember what series for my 5642. It might be Atlas Gold. Silver Series was a basic model, but I liked Atlas Master and Atlas Gold the best. Atlas Gold and Master are the best. So I don't do much Atlas. I have done some Atlas rolling stock, and I've had one Atlas locomotive. Mostly for me, it's Athearn, just because I'm used to Athearn, and plus, the way some of the stuff is built now, it's basically indestructible. You can't destroy them. The little lifelike N-scale locomotives, they are basically built like tanks. You can't destroy those things. And a lot of the stuff is built pretty well, for HO and even N-scale and O-gauge. I mean, it's got some weight to it, guys, I'm telling you. Atlas Gold is perfect for advanced modelers. Okay. Master's good. Silver, I don't know if they still do the silver line. I could be wrong, but they have used Loke sound in some of their sound locomotives. My 5642 has ESU Loke sound, and Loke sound is pretty good for an EMD. It's pretty good, but in my opinion, Tsunami 2 sound is got EMD. For GE, I have heard it in Loke sound. Loke sound for GE is the way to go. Oh wow, forgot Atlas Trainman was actually in existence. I don't know if they still do the line, but I have a couple of Trainman cars in my collection, and those are good little runners. Those are good little runners. All right, Matt comes in and says, all right, if I wanted G-scale stuff, what should be the cheapest if it's sets or engines? Let me think. Wow. Wow, let me think. Your manufacturers, obviously, USA Trains, LGB, and also, I think Bachmann does some large scale too. There's not much large scale. LGB is the way I go with large scale. I don't have much. With me, it's just a set that was given to me, but a G gauge set is pretty good. G gauge is up there in price, I will say, but large scale is a cool gauge because it's big and it re-rails very easy and it's perfect for young children. G gauge is perfect for young children, and so is O gauge because it's big enough where they can hold it and not risk breaking something that's on the engine. All right. Such as an ATS at B40-8 custom patch using decals. Oh, very cool. Atlas is still doing silver. Okay. Quite a few Atlas Silver Series Dash 8s. Oh, yeah. Okay. I know they've done quite a number of Dash 8 releases in the years past. And I hear they're pretty good runners. Oh, wow. You passed a Blue Bonnet B40-8. Very cool. Oh, Tammy drops in. Just want to say hi. I wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas. Just so you know, you mean so much to our family. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. That really warms my heart right here. It just really does. So, speaking of that comment, guys, just remember, always bond a good relationship with your family because they're the only family that you have. They're the only family that you have. You cherish every day with your family because let me tell you, time is just very limited. Time is just limited. And I will leave it at that, but it's always important, guys, where you're with your families and you bond together and you're there for each other in good times and bad. Okay. Your family, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Tammy. I appreciate it. All right. Matt asked another question. What transformer, either brand and scale, should I recommend budget friendly? Can you be specific on a specific gauge as well as... actually, let's just do a specific gauge. Let's do specific gauge. While Matt is clarifying his comment here, for O gauge, you can also find service manuals, and you can probably find these at your local train store or even on the internet. It's good to have repair manuals, guys, because let me tell you, the older stuff, you can look it up here in the book, and you can be able to possibly repair it yourself. These books have helped me because there were some projects where I was actually able to order the parts and fix it. Oh yeah, just right there in the training room. Yeah, absolutely, these are really good sources. Even if you don't have some of the accessories that are in the book, you can learn a lot about them. And I think some of the transformers are in repair manuals as well, because sometimes an older transformer can be repaired. Um, a friend of mine, actually a couple friends of mine, have got older Transformers that they sent in and got rebuilt with all the new components in it, and they run smooth as silk. So, okay, Steve Casey has helped out Trainman 1993 here. MRC Ted 620 is perfect for starters for standard DC and DCC layouts. Okay, all right. Thank you for being specific, Matt. With me, if it's HO scale, easy command control center. I've always liked this one just because it's digital, it's good, and it's very simple to use. For DC, MRC is good, and there was another brand of power pack that used to be good. Let me think. MRC, and plus any of the ones that come with the starter sets, guys, are pretty good anyway. Bachmann still has a pretty little decent transformer. You know, I think it's pretty good, you know, that you have these different options. Digitrax, that's who I was thinking of. Digitrax. That's for the advanced modelers, but if you want something to go starter, you can go MRC, or you can go Bachmann. So, yeah, my Athearn set has a Bachmann transformer. Because the transformer, to me, is a transformer. It does the same thing, it's just the brand is different. Appreciate the help there. Hey, guys, see, this is a good example of teamwork, of actually helping each other out. So this is good. So, and yes, Merry Christmas. Excuse me. Okay, guys, we're rolling pretty good with this. We're going to continue this for about another 15 minutes on the on this. So there's another 15 minutes where you can ask questions. So as we wind down the last 15 minutes, I'll keep it open for any more questions that may come up. We can talk about some more of the how-tos as we wind down. Think about building a Christmas train set after Christmas 2022. Awesome. What are your plans? What are your plans? And real quick, got a couple comments in here. Was the best sound decoder to go with HO? If it's sound decoders, Tsunami 2 sound. Tsunami 2 is the way to go. If you want a good high-end sound for EMD, Tsunami 2. If you want good GE sounds, ESU Low Sound. Now, these are the wheels that I use when it comes to HO scale upgrades for wheels. The Bachmann 33-inch metal wheels are perfect. The Easy Made couplers, perfect. They're at an affordable price. They're good. And the best thing is, you can get these at your local train store or hobby store. And these are really good wheels. And the metal wheels are better because not only do they sound better, they don't require as much cleaning. The plastic wheels in that little groove will build up dirt over time. And I'll tell you, there was this set of wheels that I had cleaned. There was a whole big ring of dirt just on the wheel. I mean, when I took it off, it was just like smearing grease. So, always important to clean your wheels on your rolling stock, guys, because it will build up dirt. The best thing you can do with the plastic wheels, you can pop them off, put the metal ones on, and you're good to go. What's the best locomotive that has sound and operating ditch lights? Well, are you talking about EMD, or are you talking about GE? Or are you talking about people in general? Woo. A little bit stopped up tonight. For most anywhere, Athearn is good with that. Scale Trains is behind it, and so is Intermountain. I don't know about Bachman just because I don't own any Bachman sound value equipment. But Athearn and Scale Trains and Intermountain are the ones to me that are most impressive with the ditch lights and everything. So, all right, so we'll continue this here for another 10 minutes. What we'll do is we'll continue this for another 10 minutes as we will wind this one down, and we will definitely take a few more questions before we close out. So, guys, take these last 10 minutes where you can ask any sort of question that you may have on the model railroad basics, and maybe something you may want to hear again, different, something different, like, hey, one thing you may have covered, but will you please explain that again? Yes, glad to do it. So I'm just going to sit back for a little bit and see what else you guys can come up with. In this book here, I checked out from my local library. It's talking about selecting a locomotive. Back then, it was just nothing but a basic locomotive. That's all you could get. But now, since there's so many options out there, you can choose. You can choose pretty much anything you want. The options are pretty well versed. You can go with something simple, or you can go with something advanced, or you have a mix of both. Now, what sound system is the best for O gauge? Well, I know choices in O gauge now have been limited to mostly Lionel, Atlas, and Williams. I think MTH is still around. If anybody can confirm that, let me know. Lionel's sound system is decent, and so is Atlas. I have not had any experience with Williams, but Lionel has always been really good. Lionel has always been really good with sound. I don't have much of the newer Lionel equipment as far as engines go, but like Trainmaster Command Control back in the day, Lionel was king on that, and I applaud Lionel a million for designing that system, because that was the basics, the basis of what is now Legacy. Legacy is the updated version of TMCC. Legacy is good and very easy to use from what I've been reading. Not a huge fan of seeing the locomotives where it can be budget friendly. Not only budget friendly, but also sound friendly and friendly to a Lionel system, which I thought was pretty smart. My Union Pacific locomotive in O gauge is a Lionel license, probably because it has TMCC in that locomotive. So that's pretty neat. And Lionel has done an agreement with Atlas on that, which I think is cool. How do you make metal wheels have flat spots? Simple. Just grind a spot down on the wheel with with just a file that you would find in the shop, or carefully do it with a bench grinder. Which coupler is the best to go with for an HO car? I may have mentioned this earlier, but in case I didn't, Bachman Easy couplers, McHenry couplers, or KDs. I have a few cars that are equipped with KDs. It's very few. But most of the time, Bachmann Easy couplers. Bachmann Easy couplers, to me, grab better than the McHenrys. The coupler's a little bit wider. I'm not a huge fan of the Atlas couplers. I mean, they work, but they tend to split in half. My N&W cylindrical hopper went through basically a huge overhaul with body work and also a coupler replacement. And actually, the couplers split in half over years of use. And I put the Bachmann couplers on there, no problems at all. I see Train World has their Bachmann 060 steamer for $100, $99.99. That's pretty good. Great for starters. Good suggestion, Steve. Thank you for doing the research, buddy. This is going to help out a whole lot of model railroaders. I'm going to say that now. It's going to help out a lot of model railroaders. So I've got another about 3 to 4 minutes on some stuff, and we'll take a few more questions, and then we will close it up for tonight. Might be getting a Williams by Bachmann EMD Jeep 30. Nice. I actually have one piece of Williams equipment, and that's a Milwaukee Road caboose. It's the only piece of Williams that I have. And Williams' line is pretty good. Not the most high-end detailed stuff, but let me say this. I wouldn't mind seeing that for starters, too. Great stable equipment for starters, or if anyone wants to build their own Christmas train set. Yep. There you go. There you go. So, yeah. But while we are winding down, I want to just go over just a couple of announcements that I have. I will be getting back into editing soon. It's just I've been so backed up with a lot of things. I am posting a few little things here and there just because I just don't have a lot of time in the studio right now, just because I've been so busy, and plus it's the holiday season, because that's always a busy time for everyone. So I do apologize, but more videos will be coming out soon. The only Williams items I have are the Penske 2-bay hopper and the new transformer I got today from eBay. Oh, cool. Cool. But like I said, guys, this is a Model Railroading the Basics. This is a very special edition of Model Railroad Mondays, as mentioned before. But Model Railroad Mondays will continue. I also have a new live stream that will be coming out sometime after the new year. I just don't know a day and a time yet. But I would like to do the basics of model railroading a little bit. So that's what I'm planning to do with this part, since this is something new. Would definitely like to do this again. So the basics, and I can bring the books out again. And we can also do, maybe we could dedicate Model Railroad Mondays 1 month to just model railroading the basics. So that's going to be something I'll be thinking about over the holidays. By the way, Pat, I'm heading out for tonight, and Merry Christmas early, bro. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you being on and for having some fun with us. And guys, it is with that we will end tonight's live stream. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. Happy holidays to everyone. As always, smash the like button, drop a comment down below, hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell where you get the latest updates on everything that goes on, and I'll see you guys down the main. Thank you guys very much. May God bless, and I hope all of you have a wonderful holiday season.